When Charles I attempted to reassert control in the early 1640s, Parliament was deeply divided over religious reform and royal authority. He interpreted this division as an opportunity to restore his power. On December 1st, 1641, Parliament presented the king with the Grand Remonstrance, a sweeping list of grievances against the crown. Rather than negotiate, he escalated the crisis. In January 1642, he entered Parliament with armed soldiers, intending to arrest several leading Puritan members. They had been warned and escaped moments before his arrival. Violating the neutrality of Parliament horrified the nation. Charles fled London shortly afterward and began raising an army. Parliament, equally shocked, responded by passing the Militia Ordinance, claiming its own authority to raise troops. The moment for compromise had passed. In August 1642, the English Civil War began. The war centered on two fundamental questions. 1. Would England be governed by an absolute monarchy or by a parliamentary government? Waicum. Would the Church of England follow the King's bishops and high church practices, or become a decentralized Calvinist Presbyterian system? The Royalists, known as Cavaliers, were strongest in the northwestern regions of England and drew support from many adherents of the high church Anglican tradition. They upheld the authority and prerogatives of the king, believing in the importance of preserving royal power and the existing structure of the monarchy. The Parliamentarians, often called Roundheads, drew strong support from the southeastern regions of England and were especially backed by Puritans. They favoured greater control of government by Parliament and sought significant religious reforms, aiming to reshape the Church of England in line with their beliefs. Supporters on both sides of the conflict came from a wide range of social backgrounds, including nobles, gentry, and townspeople, demonstrating that this was not a class-based war. Instead, divisions were shaped by factors such as personal loyalty, religious beliefs, constitutional views, and past relationships with the king. Those who had benefited from royal patronage often supported the king, while individuals who felt marginalized or wronged by his rule were more likely to align with Parliament. At first, the war was evenly balanced, with neither side able to secure a decisive advantage. However, two key developments transformed the course of the conflict. First, Scotland allied itself with Parliament through the Solemn League and Covenant, providing crucial military support. Second, a new, disciplined parliamentary force emerged under the leadership of Oliver Cromwell, a Puritan gentleman who organized and trained the new model army. These changes proved decisive, and the defeat of Royalist forces in 1645 left Charles with no choice but to surrender. Victory did not bring unity among the victors, as they quickly fell into disagreement over England's future. Presbyterian Puritans and the Scots favoured restoring Charles under a constitutional monarchy and establishing a Presbyterian Church of England. In contrast, independents, Congregationalists, and many soldiers supported the creation of a republic, advocated for broad Protestant toleration, and rejected the idea of a centralized church structure. Charles tried to exploit these divisions, negotiating secretly with each faction in hopes of regaining power. This destroyed any remaining trust. Disgusted by Charles's duplicity, Cromwell acted decisively. He defeated a new Scottish army that had been raised in support of the king, then purged Parliament of roughly 96 Presbyterian members. This action left behind what became known as the Rump Parliament, and Cromwell subsequently moved forward with plans to bring the king to trial. Charles was charged with high treason against the people of England, but his response remained firm and consistent. He refused to enter a plea, arguing that no court had the authority to judge a king. He maintained that his power came from God at the time of his coronation and therefore could not be challenged or judged by his subjects. By refusing to plead, he was considered guilty by default, and the prosecution did not need to call witnesses. 59 commissioners signed his death warrant. On January 30th, 1649, Charles I was executed outside the banqueting house at Whitehall. A groan rose from the assembled crowd. Some spectators dipped handkerchiefs in his blood, creating a cult of Charles the Martyr. The monarchy was abolished, the House of Lords dissolved, and England now faced the challenge of creating a new form of government.